Before we start the video today, I just want to say two quick things. The first is that I am really proud of how I decided to take down Agatha in this run. I realize how clickbaity this sounds, but please make sure you stick around to the end to see how I took down Agatha this run. It was amazing, and I'm really proud of figuring out this method. Second is that we just hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, and y'all, that seriously blows my mind. I started the channel a year and a half ago, and I had always hoped that I would have some sort of success on YouTube, but like, 1,000 subscribers. That's successful in my book. I am beyond grateful to every single one of you for joining us on the channel here. Seriously, I'm a junior high math teacher, and you can bet that next school year I'm gonna brag about this every single day to my students. Assuming that we're at school because, you know. As a treat for you guys, I'm gonna do a 1,000 subscriber special Q&A type thing. So make sure if you've got any questions for me, be it about how I do the Pokemon runs, if you wanna know my hot takes on gaming, just drop them down below. And without further ado, let's get on with the show. So, using just a Scyther in Pokemon Blue. Surely this will be a super easy challenge, right? Well, it was, but it also wasn't. Because this is in Generation 1, critical hits are determined by my speed stat. There's a tiny bit more to it than that, but you can find people that are way smarter than me on YouTube if you want more info on that. Because of this in Gen 1, Pokemon with high base speed are more likely to get a critical hit. And if you bring in moves like Slash and Razor Leaf that have an increased crit chance, you can almost guarantee that you will get a critical hit every single time you use one of those moves. Scyther is not outrageously fast, but it is the 13th fastest of the original 151 Pokemon, so we're gonna get quite a few critical hits. And Scyther also learns the move Slash, so once we get that, we'll be critical hitting literally everything that stands in our way. Scyther's other stats are pretty phenomenal actually, the only one less than great being its special stat, but even then, it's not awful. But not everything is a piece of cake, and you can see that by looking at Scyther's moveset. Scyther literally only learns normal type moves, save 3 other moves that don't deal direct damage. We could use Toxic, and that'd be no problem, except the ghosts that will resist all of our normal type moves are also part poison. So we're gonna have to use Bide and Mimic to take down the ghosts, so that's gonna be a little annoying. Let's go over the rules. I will only be using Scyther in battle. HM users will be caught, but they won't be used in battle. I will not be using any items in battle. This includes potions, X items, and anything else you may want to use in a battle. And lastly, I will not be evolving Scyther, and since it's Gen 1, I can't. So, we started off our journey by picking up Drax, our great little Scyther. I'll let y'all see if you can figure out why I gave it that name. I was gonna name it Sora because I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2 on PS4 a lot. I just beat it on critical mode, not level 1 though, I'm not a lunatic. And we had our first battle with our rival Gary. Sometimes I just don't have a great name for the rival. Gary chose Charmander, but in our first battle, Drax absolutely destroyed it. I only have Quick Attack, but that seriously didn't cause any issue. I totally would have destroyed Gary in the second battle too, but take a wild guess at what Pidgey did. Yep. Sand Attack. Okay, this is just me thinking out loud, but if I'm ever able to make merchandise, would you guys buy a Sand Attack themed shirt? Or just something about how it always uses Sand Attack? Anyways, I just jumped 2 levels to get past it, and Pidgey missed its only Sand Attack this battle. Hate that stupid bird. And now we're at what everybody was probably expecting to be a semi-tough battle. Brock's Pokemon both resist Quick Attack, and Quick Attack does the same amount of damage as Tackle. So even though I'm attacking with a stronger Pokemon than I normally have here, it's not really doing too much. The first time through, factoring in all the critical hits, I made it past Geodude with only 3 HP. And because I had no way to not attack Onix when it was using Bide, I just fed it energy that it just unleashed back at me. I really wish I could have beaten Brock without getting another move, but it's just not realistic to do so. You could maybe go through the gym with an outrageous amount of good RNG and win, but I had to hit level 17 and get Leer to win this one. Geodude and I kept doing this dance of Leer and Defense Curl, but given I was a few levels higher and actually lowering its defense, things were definitely going my way. I had to take some tackles, but Geodude wasn't going to actually do anything dangerous. And now that I had a way of not hitting Onix, I could just leer past Bide, and I won with no issue this time. It definitely helped that Leer was lowering defense as well, so this was an incredibly easy fight this time around. The rival fight on Nugget Bridge opened with 3 sand attacks from Pidgeotto. Because of course it did. Luckily Abra can't hit me, and Rattata did very little damage to me, even with it hitting me with Leer a few times. Charmander had Ember this time though, and that hurt. A lot. If it weren't for Sand Attack, I would have won no problem. Second time, I took no sand attacks, proving that God does exist, and won much more handedly this time. But man, if Ember packs that much punch now, I'm not excited for Charizard and Blaine later. Because my special is the lowest stat I have, I went to Bill's before going to see Misty, just to make sure I got some levels. Her Staryu and Starmie definitely do some damage with Water Gun and Bubble Beam, but Drax just muscled through her team without any problem first try. Although Misty would have definitely won if she had used Bubble Beam instead of Tackle one turn on Starmie. But she didn't, so we're moving on. The battle aboard the SS Anne with Gary wasn't plagued by Sand Attack, and I learned Slash mid-battle. Here's where most of the run goes from easy to really easy. Slash is a crit literally every single time it's used, and I'm gonna be real, I absolutely love this. If I really wanted a hard game, I would choose that. I love the power trip that always getting crits gives me. Because I'm part flying, I was slightly nervous about Surge's gem, but I shouldn't have been. Slash took everything out in one hit, even big ol' Raichu. Also, I never show footage of Rock Tunnel and stuff because there's normally never anything worth noting in there. There's one trainer with 2 Geodude and a Graveler that like to blow up, but they're honestly the only thing worth noting in that place. And I just don't feel like mentioning it. That's why I always jump straight from Surge's gym to Erica's gym. It's a shame that Scyther learns literally no stab moves, but we don't even need the double type advantage against grass types to beat up these plants. I didn't take out any of her team in one hit surprisingly, but that didn't mean anything. Tangela did 1 HP of damage to me, and Vileplume poisoned me. Drax learned Swords Dance during the battle, which actually won't help out Slash's power at all because of how crits work. But I've actually got big plans for the move later in the run. Giovanni's first battle could have gone very poorly. Onix got a critical super effective Rock Throw on Drax, and that made it ugly. But Giovanni kept using guard specs on the rest of his team, and that just gave me free turns to slash right past them. And for the third battle in a row, Gary's Pidgeotto didn't hit me with a sand attack. The rest of the team was basically wiped out by Slash. If you really want to feel powerful, just use Slash in a Gen 1 game. Now I did have to use Bide to get past the ghosts in the tower because of 3 mandatory trainer battles. Bide in Gen 1 hits ghost types even though it's a normal move, and it's annoying too because you have to take damage to deal it back. It wasn't a huge deal though. Now Koga beat us. I was shocked. I went into the battle poisoned from the previous trainer just so I couldn't get hit by Toxic. The big problem here was that in Gen 1, Bug and Poison types are super effective on each other. And Muck hit me with a critical Sludge. So next attempt, I went back in, and Sludge does indeed do a ton of damage, but not getting a crit kept Drax alive. I was terrified of Weezing blowing up, and even using a poison move. Smog scared me, but Drax pulled through with his health in the red. Now Gary's Pidgeot doesn't have Sand Attack anymore in Silphco, but it does have Wing Attack, which is super effective against me. But Wing Attack is also garbage in Gen 1, so I didn't take as much damage as I thought I would have. Gary's team had bulked up considerably since last time, so I only took down a few of his team in one hit, but I still walked away with the victory. Charizard only used Ember, and even though I didn't like that, a win is a win. We picked up our obligatory Lapras and named him Zebedee to fit the biblical naming convention. Giovanni's second battle was much easier than the first one, though I was not expecting it to be because of his poison types. Nidorino went down in one hit though, and Kangaskhan only used Comet Punch, not doing a ton of damage. Rhyhorn stomped a few times and even hit me with Tail Whip, weakening me. But the Tail Whip didn't even allow Nidoqueen to hit me much harder. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this one to be this easy. Sabrina's battle was Snoozeville. Even without having any stab moves on her team, Slash just absolutely destroyed everything in one hit. Even big ol' Alakazam. Love when gym leaders are this easy past the beginning of the game. Blaine's team was pretty easy, surprisingly. As usual, Growlithe and Ponyta weren't bad. Rapidash did hit me with Fire Spin, but luckily that only did so much damage. Arcanine was going to be the biggest problem, but it used Ember instead of a much stronger move. I'm certainly not complaining about it though. I got really lucky on this one. Giovanni's final battle was pretty easy. Rhyhorn took a few slashes to go down, but it didn't hit me too hard. I mimicked Dig from Dugtrio, and this made the rest of the battle so much easier. Dig took out both Nidoqueen and Nidoking in one hit, and it got Rhydon in two. Mimic is seriously one of my new favorite moves in the game. Gary's final normal battle wasn't much. Pidgeot used Wing Attack, but it only did 30 damage. Rhydon let me try out an actual strategy here. I used Swords Dance 3 times to max out my attack stat, and then mimicked Stomp. Stomp isn't outrageously powerful, but it can certainly do some damage when it's boosted with Swords Dance. I took a lot more damage from it than I meant to during the turns I was boosting, and that worried me greatly. But this maxed out Stomp absolutely destroyed everything else on his team. Even Charizard couldn't handle the Super Stomp. Now before the Elite Four, I went and did something I meant to do way before now. I got the Hyper Beam TM. I've said it before, but if you're not aware, Gen 1 Hyper Beam doesn't make you recharge if you KO the opposing Pokemon. So if I boost Hyper Beam by using 3 Swords Dance, I should be able to just sweep through the Elite Four. And I almost did just that to Lorelei. I had done some test runs before this, and because I'm weak to Ice types, Aurora Beam absolutely decimates me. Slash just wasn't gonna cut it. I used 1 Swords Dance, took a crit Aurora Beam, and then proceeded to Hyper Beam her entire team. I gambled and used Swords Dance twice on Slowbro because it kept using Amnesia. This made it where Hyper Beam was going to destroy Jinx and Lapras. But then when Lapras came out, I missed Hyper Beam. But it missed Blizzard, so I had a chance to take it out with Slash, and then it hit the next turn. I knew it was possible to win with this strategy though, so I didn't go and grind anymore. After only a few tries, the exact same strategy worked and got me through the battle. Slowbro did hit with Water Gun, and the boosted special made it sting, but I still made it through. I never realized how low Hyper Beam's accuracy can be if you're relying on it to hit every single Pokemon. I used the Mimic strategy on Bruno to get Slam again. His first Onix did have Rock Throw, so it wasn't going to be an easy battle, but it locked itself in with Rage. This let me use Swords Dance 3 times and slam the entire team. I'm talking Quad City DJ's slam. Hitmonchan actually survived the slam because of how crits do in Gen 1, but the rest of the battle was a breeze. Now the part that I promised y'all. I could have beaten Agatha by using Mimic on her first Gengar to get Nightshade, which is what I did in the Eevee video way back when. But I had a better idea this time. Agatha's AI is meant to poison, confuse, basically stall you out. So she will do a lot of status things and then swap out her Pokemon. If I could wait for her to swap out to Golbat, I could mimic Wing Attack and finally have a stab move in this run. And the very first time that I took on Agatha, this exact thing happened. But I got cocky and took down Golbat right there. Had I set up all of my Swords Dances on the Golbat, I would have won with no problem. But I instead set up Swords Dance while Gengar was on the field and got confused. And the higher your attack stat, the more likely you are to hit yourself in confusion. It took about 20 minutes before I got this exact thing to happen again. She refused to swap out once she knew my strategy. I started using Swords Dance immediately on Gengar. That way when Golbat came out, I could mimic Wing Attack and go to town. And that's exactly what I did when I got the chance. I used Hyper Beam and Wing Attack to absolutely destroy her. I know I trash-talked Wing Attack earlier, but when it's backed with Swords Dance boosting it, and since it's a stab move, it did exactly as much damage as I needed it to. I was proud of thinking of this way to take her down, instead of just getting Nightshade from her. I wasn't sure what to expect from Lance. I thought I might be able to just Hyper Beam through his team, but I wanted to set up Swords Dance first, and he hit me with a critical Hydro Pump first turn, leaving me with 4 HP. I thought, why not? And I just continued using Swords Dance while he used Leer twice. Hyper Beam took it down. Slash actually took care of both Dragonair in one hit, which was a little surprising to me. I wasn't sure if Aerodactyl would go down to 1 Hyper Beam, but it did, and the almighty Dragonite couldn't handle Hyper Beam either, and I beat Lance first try. Basically beating Agatha was the real test of how hard this run would be. I wasn't sure how to approach Gary's final battle. I could mimic a flying move from Pidgeot and get stab damage, but I decided against it. It set up Sky Attack, letting me slash it to death before taking damage. I thought about getting Psychic from Alakazam, but I skipped that too and just used Slash, taking it down. Then I used Swords Dance 3 times on Rhydon and used Hyper Beam to take it to red health. It only used Horn Drill and Leer, and Horn Drill wasn't going to hit me since I was faster, so 1 slash got it finished. I used Hyper Beam on the rest of the team, praying that I wouldn't miss a move, and Gary was crushed. Yes, you can beat Pokemon Blue with just a Scyther. Not that we really thought it wasn't possible, but man, Hyper Beam and Swords Dance is the way to go. I'm going to foreshadow the next run here. I love doing Gen 1 runs. Most past Gen 2 almost require you to be level 100, and I like figuring out how low of a level I can be to get past everything. I'm going to do the counterpart to Scyther, Pinsir, in Pokemon Red for the next one. Also, yes, I really know that Pinsir is the counterpart to Heracross, but this is Gen 1. Scyther and Pinsir were both version exclusive, so you know what I'm going for. It's actually 10 higher in stat total compared to Scyther, so maybe that'll be even easier, who knows. Before you leave, I was just involved in a collaboration with 11 other YouTubers in a very special playthrough of Fire Red. It was a blast, and we've already talked about doing more down the road with more people and everything. Please go give that a watch if you haven't already. Also, I'm in the middle of a Pokemon Silver Nuzlocke. Go give that a look too. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter at CoachMaxYouTube for extra info you can't find anywhere else. And until next time, see you later!